Hey guys, what's going on? It's Anime Sensei here, and I'm gonna be doing What If Itachi Trained Naruto, Part 1. So let's get straight to this. I hope you guys enjoy it, and also this is an idea I've been meaning to do for a while now, so I'm kind of glad I got into it. So let's begin. Also, if my audio sounds a little off, it's because of my phone, but it should be good though. If not, as let's get straight into this. As we fast forward to the Nine-Tailed attack, this starts off during the Nine-Tailed attack. Kushina has to restrain the Nine-Tails as Minato's trying to seal the Nine-Tails at the same time. The Nine-Tails was also trying to kill them as well, as Minato was trying to seal the Nine-Tails within Naruto, and then if not, that doesn't work, he'll try to seal some within him as well, as a last resort, since, well, there was nothing else he could do. But the Nine-Tails broke free and tried to attack Naruto, but Minato and Kushina had to step in before he stabbed Naruto with his claw. And with the limited time they had to live, Minato performs the Reaper Death Seal, sealing half the Nine-Tails within Naruto and the other half within himself, and dies, leaving Kushina with seconds to live. She confronts the crying Naruto and says to eat his vegetables and not to get in any trouble. Meanwhile, Hiruzen and his personal Anbu appeared, seeing their dead Hokage and a near-dead Kushina. She tells the Hokage the baby's name and tells him to take care of Naruto, and she apparently dies now. Hiruzen swears on his life to keep Naruto safe. And yeah, let's go about a few years later. Naruto's about 4, as Hiruzen had taken Naruto as his own. 4 years later, Naruto's running around with the baby Konohamaru in his hands, who was born 3 months ago. As they were running around having fun, uh, as he bumps into a Anbu member, one of the guards for the Hokage. As he falls back on his butt and still holding Konohamaru, who begins to cry, the Anbu member begins to take Konohamaru and get to knee level with Naruto to talk to him, and starts rocking Konohamaru to calm him down. And Naruto was still a bit scared because the Anbu members were always mysterious to him. Always standing in the dark and wearing those scary masks. But this Anbu just ruffled Naruto's hair and then gave Konohamaru back to him. The Anbu walked off as Naruto walked off to his room. Later that day, Hiruzen called Naruto to his office. It says Naruto would have his own house, as Hiruzen tells Naruto, "You will have your own house now, and that you will not have to worry about money." Pausing the water for a second, man, Hiruzen was wrong for that. Why would he make a little kid do that? But it don't matter, I'm not gonna question Hiruzen and his judgment, so whatever. As he tells Naruto he will not have to worry about money. Oh shoot, hold up. Sorry, y'all. Alright, there it is. As he tells Naruto he will not have to worry about money. He even says he will bring Naruto food every month. As I'm gonna say Naruto has somewhat of an understanding of money, even though he's 4. I really can't come up with a reason why Hiruzen would do this. So yeah, that's pretty dumb to me. I'll never understand why he would do that, but that happens. Naruto gets his house similar to Kirin, a 1-bedroom apartment with basic essentials like a kitchen and a bathroom, and a bedroom, of course. Naruto mainly stays in his house, but occasionally goes out once in a while. But whenever he does, he always gets these dirty glares from the villagers, and when he tries playing with the kids on the playground, their parents always separate them from him. This goes on for 3 years, and no villager has tried touching Naruto because they know he's protected by the Hokage. After all, he lived with him for years. So let's switch perspective to Kid Sasuke, as he was only 7 years old, a year before he's supposed to start the academy. As he's walking home from playing with a few kids he had met at the playground, he walks through the Uchiha compound, and it was actually awfully quiet that day. But as he knocked on one of his friend's house, he got no response. All the shops have closed early, but it wasn't a holiday, which confused him, because that usually happens on holidays. And while he's walking on the street, a flickering street light, as he briefly saw a ninja with the Anbu-styled armor. As he got closer, he could see the Anbu, but he disappeared in thin air. As he got closer to his house, he saw his aunt and uncle dead in the road. Being a bit traumatized by this, he runs home, comes in screaming his parents' names, but to no reply, just a dark, empty, and quiet house. He goes to his parents' room, where he sees Itachi standing over, the parents, as he starts saying, "Itachi, I saw Auntie and Uncle dead outside. I'm scared." And as he says this, he hears a thud. He looks down to see on the floor both his parents drop dead, and Itachi wiping the blood off of his sword. As he begins crying, "Why, brother? I know Dad always overworked you, but why do this? He taught you to be better than this." "Oh, little brother, I was just only testing my skills. My clan always thought you were weak. And honestly, I don't care what they think. They didn't even put up a fight, honestly, Sasuke." Sasuke dropped to his knees, crying, and Itachi put him into a genjutsu, looping his parents' death over and over, driving Sasuke insane, awakening his one-time Sharingan. But as he got released from the genjutsu, he fell onto the ground and passed out. Now let's switch to the perspective of Kid Naruto again. As we switch back to, his perspective. While this was happening to Sasuke, Naruto was walking to Ichiraku to get a bowl of ramen. Approaching the stand, he felt someone cover his mouth, and another put a bag over his head. Naruto was dragged off by 4 male villagers as they dragged him into the forest near the Uchiha compound, because it was near the outskirts of the village and no one would really be there. They tied Naruto to a tree trunk and took turns kicking him, one saying, "This is for my wife. This is for my kids." And the third one, "This is for my brother." This kept going on until Naruto was bloody and bruised. The kicks only got harder because the villagers noticed Naruto would start healing. Then the eldest villager says, "Okay, I've had enough. It's time. This is your end, demon. It's time to send you to hell where you belong." As the villager drew the kunai from his pocket and thrust it into Naruto. While this was happening, Itachi put Sasuke in his bed, and he walked out saying, "I'm sorry, Sasuke, and I'm doing this because I love you." Then Itachi entered the forest to run away from the village, but heard a commotion. Itachi puts on his Anbu mask and heads towards it. There he saw 3 villagers beating on Naruto. He decided not to step in, but one drew for a kunai, and as he went to stab Naruto, it was as if his body moved on. Sorry, y'all. Without wanting to, Itachi leaped forward to block the kunai with his short sword, and the man stumbled back. After regaining his footing, filled with rage, he went in for another stab, but Itachi easily disarmed the villager. But he began to use his fist, and the two of his friends joined in trying to beat Itachi. Itachi not wanting to hurt them, not wanting to run back to the village to tell anyone about this, and figuring it's easiest way to get out of this situation. He decides to kill them. Itachi uses his sword, stabs all three of them through the heart, killing them instantly. After this, he frees Naruto, cutting the rope. But as he does this, he falls over, exhausted, and soon passes out. Itachi picks up Naruto and decides to make a fire next to a river nearby, and waited for him to wake up. The next morning, the sun hit Naruto's eyes, causing him to wake up. He got up off the grass, rubbing his eyes to see a familiar face. Well, not face, more like a mask. The same mask of a humble member that was in the Anbu and always took care of him whenever he was in the mansion. Even when he got his own house, he would see him watching over him. Naruto smiled, knowing he was friendly, and Itachi began asking, why is he being beaten up? Why were the villagers beating him up? Along with some other questions, but Naruto didn't know the answer to any of them. But Itachi suspected it was because he was a nine-tailed Jinchuriki. Itachi then turned to Naruto and said, well, kid, I saved you, but I have to go. As Itachi began to walk away, but Naruto shouted, that's not the way to the village. Itachi froze, and Naruto continued, listen, I'm weak, no talent, I'm always getting picked on, and it seems you're the strongest person in your age. Guessing you're around 16 and you're already in the Anbu. Please, in order to stand up and so I can train, get stronger, can you train me? I don't want to be picked on and pushed around. Worse to be useless, I'd never want to be. And for all I know, I could face death one day. And if I can't do anything about it, then what will I do? Itachi then turned around. Alright, training starts now. Itachi drew his sword and began swinging at Naruto, who was barely dodging each of his strikes. And after running away for a good bit, he says, stop. What are you trying to kill me? Itachi just kept swinging at Naruto. And by the midday, he fell over exhausted and fell asleep. Because this was going on for hours now. So when he woke up, he smelled something good. He shot up to see 5 fresh fish being cooked at the fire. Without a second thought, he began digging into them. While eating the 4th one, he realized the same Anbu in the darkness watching him was there, and Naruto shouted, hey, what was this about earlier? Were you trying to kill me? Itachi spoke. No, well, yes. I wasn't necessarily trying to kill you, but you already achieved one of your goals already. And what are you talking about? Naruto responded. You were trying to kill me, were you not? And I was only fighting you at... I was fighting at 10, but I had the intent to kill and you survived. That was my test. So as long as you were able to survive, you didn't face death. That is one of the lists, since you said you didn't want to face death. So, be happy with that. Then what's your name anyway? Oh, I guess I never told you. It's Itachi. Itachi Uchiha. Naruto went back to eating, thinking that he's heard the name before. Can't put his finger on it, though. The next day, as soon as Naruto woke up, he had a sword to his throat, and using what he had learned from the previous day, Naruto used his palm to hit the sword away and got into his feet, backing up. Itachi then began to actually try to attack Naruto with faster swipes of his sword, cutting Naruto's cheeks and arms. But they healed almost instantly. Naruto realized his healing ability and decided to take advantage of this. He grabbed Itachi's sword with his bare hand, causing it to bleed, and punched him in the face. He then jumped back, creating distance between the two. Itachi looked surprised and smiled. I guess I took you too lightly, but you passed Past what? Naruto asks. Itachi then explains that Naruto had to land a hit on him in order for him to train him. You could have explained that earlier, Naruto says as he went to sit down exhausted. He totally dragged him up and put on a heavy tree and told him to start running. As Itachi did that, Naruto was confused. As this went on for a few weeks now, and by the end of it, Naruto still had trouble carrying the branches, as Itachi had signed him to a test basically to carry branches while going up the tree. But it was way easier than before, and now he could dodge Itachi's attacks with ease. Like when he's not going all out at least. And also remember, Naruto is 7 and Itachi is 13. So yeah, don't expect him to be able to straight up just beat him or even really be able to. As we fast forward to Naruto saying, "I'm catching up, huh, Itachi-sensei?" As Itachi smiled and activated his 3-time Sharingan. Now the training was like back square to one, but even harder. Itachi made the training 10 times harder, as he had Naruto do weight training and jutsu training, aka swordsmanship, and also a lot more. And it also gave him time to increase his reaction time, as this training was going on longer. In 2 months, Naruto could match Itachi, who would use his sword, but no. This went on for the next 3 months, as he refined Naruto's taijutsu, and somewhat reaching his level, but still needed mastery. And for the next 5 months, Itachi introduced Naruto to ninjutsu, showing him some basic shock and control techniques such as tree walking, water walking, and a lot more. As at one point he had actually gave Naruto chocolate papers and found out Naruto had an affinity for lightning, wind, and earth. As that was actually an interesting thing. And Itachi realized he might be able to teach Naruto some things. And started to teach Naruto some jutsu such as D-rank jutsu, which only took him about 2 days to actually master. But he actually learned a jutsu called the Wind Bullet Jutsu and Electric Flash, and by the end of the 5 months, Naruto had learned and used everything he knew, and actually almost beat Itachi in a fight, putting up a pretty good fight with a 3-time Itachi. But he would always get bodied in the end. After one of their spars, Itachi approached Naruto. "Hey kid, I want to show you something. I've been holding on to these because I wanted to give it to my younger brother, but he'll make better use of them. It's hard to do." And pulls out 2 pairs of Sharingan, whose eyes are these, you may be asking. These belong to Fugaku. He had taken them right after he killed him, and Naruto, knowing what these are, you know that they can be a little bit dangerous. And Itachi goes on to explain, you are showing on, and explains different stages of the Sharingan, saying, there's the 1-time, which is the basics, 2-time, slightly enhanced, and the 3-time. And also a new one I'd actually found out, the Mangekyo. As Naruto had gotten an eye transplant, as it took about an hour for his eyes to fully heal, as he couldn't really see for about an hour or two. For the next 2 months, Itachi taught Naruto how to wield the Sharingan, and since they were already near each other in terms of strength, Naruto got better and better with it. And Naruto had to go through a traumatic experience to activate them. And Itachi simply put him in a genjutsu. So after the 2 months, They had a final spar. Naruto rushes towards Itachi, both activating their Sharingan. Naruto tries punching Itachi, but he dodges. And Itachi goes for a kick, and Naruto dodges, because he sees this is coming with the Sharingan as he was able to predict the movements. And this goes on for a couple of minutes with both Naruto and Itachi getting a few hits in on each other. Then Itachi says, "Well, Naruto, you have grown tremendously. I'm honestly surprised. But this is what you have to look forward to." Itachi then activates his Mangekyo, forming the Susanoo ribcage and arm, and punches Naruto into the tree, knocking him out. Naruto then woke up. This is like a day later. Yeah, about a day later. Where he woke up at the same place where he got saved by Itachi. And he sees a note next to him says, "Your training has officially ended. It's been a year, so you're 8 now. And you're old enough to start the academy. So here's a little gift, my sword. Treat it well, because the next time we meet, it might be as enemies, unfortunately. Also, take care of Sasuke for me. He might be a bit of a prick and rough around the edges, but guide him on the right path. The good path." Naruto, reading this, takes the sword and heads towards the village. At the village gate, he's stopped by the guards who ask, "Who are you, and state your business." "I'm Naruto Uzumaki. You guys don't remember me?" As I say, "Naruto, you disappeared a year ago." "Well, I'm back now, so take me to the old man." As they do so, they take him to Lord Third, who is mad and worried, as he asks, "Why did you leave the village, Naruto? You thought you were kidnapped." And Naruto responds with a bit of anger in his voice. "Maybe you wouldn't be so worried if you actually cared about me." What? I gave you your own house. I gave you everything you needed that was essential. Yeah, you sent Ambu to give me $50, and rent is $30. I can't survive on $20 for food, like for a month. Like, what do you think I eat? Spoiled milk? Yeah. Steal cereal, packs of ramen because they're the cheapest thing in the store? Yes, that's what I had to do. He was looked down, a little disappointed in himself. How could he be so blind? First off, why would he leave a 4-year-old kid on his own house? I still can't understand why Lord Third did that in canon. But yeah, he only found out he was missing 2 months ago. Naruto then walked out saying, "Don't be late for orientation tomorrow," because the Hokage speaks to the kids who will be getting into the academy. Naruto goes home and gets in a few push-ups to get off a little bit of anger. Itachi also left his Anbu mask. Also, keep in mind, Naruto is still only 8 years old, but really mature because he gets some of the traits from Itachi. He's still gonna be a kid and all, don't get me wrong. So the next day, Naruto goes to the academy, and outside, they have a little assembly where he goes and speaks to the new students. Basically everyone in Naruto's class and canon. Naruto was sitting up front, and from the corner of his eye, he saw Sasuke. Then the assembly ended, and all the fangirls were walking behind him, trying to get a seat behind him. You know, Sasuke. But as he saw, he sat down next to Naruto, causing all the girls to show in anger, as they ignored him, and Sasuke wasn't even paying attention to any of them, honestly. You know, with the only thoughts on his mind being mostly revenge, or avenging his queen. So classes go on, and we're gonna have a 2-year time skip. So Naruto and the class were all 10 years old, and the first 2 years of the academy is just basic education for any civilian who didn't want to be a ninja. So everyone in Naruto's class chose to become a ninja. And over these 2 years, Naruto has tried talking to Sasuke, but always gets the cold shoulder, eventually realizing that he was just a prick. So Naruto eventually does things the hard way. One day when Sasuke is going home, Naruto followed him to the Uchiha compound. When Sasuke got home, he immediately goes to bed. He has nothing better to do. While lying down, Sasuke sensing something a bit familiar with his father, but he ignores this and forces himself to go to sleep. While he's sleeping, in his dreams, he sees something from the day his parents died. His brother, and before he passed out, Sasuke saw Itachi looking down at him, crying. Sasuke shot up out of his bed in a cold sweat and began looking around. Then he turns to his window and sees a pair of Sharingan. He rubbed his eyes and they disappeared. Thinking he's just seeing this, Sasuke just got up and got ready to go to school. As Naruto had teleported back to his house saying, "Hey, I managed to get some revenge on the emo prick." Scared the brakes off of him. Naruto says to himself. But we fast forward back to Sasuke. It was still a little early in school, and he walked into class to see Naruto. As he went to sit next to Naruto, he began glaring at him. But something Sasuke didn't realize was Naruto's eyes. They were black, completely black, like an Uchiha's. So later that day, Iruka decides to have the first sparring matches. Some irrelevant people fight, blah blah blah, I don't really care about them. Doesn't matter who wins because they're irrelevant and they're background characters, so screw them. So let's get to Naruto versus Sasuke. As they enter the ring and Sasuke makes the first move, going forward Naruto with the barrages of punches, but he misses all of them. Naruto then kicks Sasuke in the stomach, making him drop to the ground, coughing up spit. He then looked at Naruto, who used 2 fingers to tap Sasuke in the forehead, similar to what Itachi always did. Then Iruka called the match. Naruto wins. As Naruto had done the finger thing, mostly as a troll, as all Sasuke's fangirls began googling Naruto. But he just ignored them. After school, Sasuke decided to follow Naruto, thinking he did some secret training to get that strong. And what was up with the forehead thing? In his black eyes. In the Sharingan he saw, Sasuke was just filled with questions he needed answers to. So he follows Naruto to the ramen stand, and inside he sees Naruto eating a bowl. So he decides to enter. He orders a bowl of ramen and began side-eyeing Naruto, who then spoke up. "You need something, Uchiha?" Sasuke's body automatically tensed up, but he said, "How did you beat me, dope? You are a weakling. You're a clanless loser who has no power. So how did you beat me?" Naruto smirked, saying, "A ninja's greatest tool is the art of deception. Now eat your ramen. It's gonna get cold." Sasuke turned to see Chiyuchi handing him his ramen. But when he looked back to Naruto, he was gone. But he left a note saying, "Meet me at the training grounds. B for answers. And if you want to see who would come out on top if we were to fight. If you're that curious, meet me there." And Sasuke drew a little 3 to know on the bottom of the paper, which made Sasuke even more curious. So the next day, Sasuke goes to the meeting place. He goes to the training ground and sees Naruto just punching a log. Breaking each and one of them with the punches. Naruto thinks to himself, saying, "Man, I'm low-key. I should really maybe get into rapping. Who knows? Got a lot to rap about." As he brushes off that thought, saying, "Wouldn't be bad." As Sasuke then approaches Naruto and begins to say, "Let's get this started. I want my answers. And Naruto says, calm down. You'll get your answers eventually. And Naruto drew for his sword and basically began doing the same thing Itachi did to him. It was swiping at Sasuke, causing him to get a few cuts in the process. Sasuke is just barely dodging these and says, are you trying to kill me or something? And Naruto says, if I kill you, you might die. Duh, idiot. And besides, I can't kill you. It's nothing to me. And Sasuke begins to try and fight back as he kicks the sword out of Naruto's hand, which surprises him a bit. And Naruto says, you know, Itachi did train you a bit. And then Sasuke said, what do you know about Itachi? Naruto just shuts up saying, I'll let that slide. And that was it. So Naruto begins answering some of Sasuke's questions, like how he got so strong. He said he trained for a year straight, giving him bland answers. Some Sasuke weren't too satisfied with. So that happens, and Naruto gives Sasuke some advice. They actually start meeting up to start training more, some days of the week, and Sasuke gets a bit stronger, but nothing really noteworthy. So this goes on, and Naruto was the top of his classes in the academy, Sasuke not even being close to his skill and level. Let's have a 3-year time skip to where Naruto is 13 and they're having their graduation. Also, to avoid all the villagers, Naruto just jumps from roof to roof to get home. So the graduation exams go pretty much as per normal. Mizuki always said Naruto because he was so talented and he was the best in his class, and he always saw him as a demon. So Mizuki tried I'm done, my bad, y'all. Putting a genjutsu, I don't know why I said punching, I was just thinking about an old fight of mine, but putting a genjutsu on Naruto's paper so he would just make random markings on it, and so Naruto could get the answers wrong. Naruto saw through this and answered the questions, and actually gave Iruka his paper within a minute, and they had an hour to complete the paper, shocking everyone in the class, some people thinking he just put down nonsense. So after an hour, Iruka collects all the papers and everyone goes outside to do their own thing and to go do the practical part of the exam. Mostly the shuriken test, as everyone throws shuriken onto the thing, as the goal is basically to make 10 shuriken land on the target. As Kiba was only able to do 3, with Choji doing 6, and Shikamaru doing 7, and Sasuke doing 9. As Naruto getting 100% as he managed to get all 10. As he does the same thing Itachi did, jumping into the air, then spinning around, throwing all the shurikens at the target. Which this is the task. He only saw his brother do this once, as Sasuke had seen it, so he was honestly surprised to see Naruto do this. But after this, they have a training spar. It's students versus their teachers, and everyone just gets ready and passes just like in canon. It's actually Naruto versus Iruka and Mizuki. They basically wanted to test him because he's the best in the class. They always do this with the top students. So this happens, and Naruto takes down Iruka and Mizuki with ease, under about a minute, as it was pretty easy. As he clashes with Mizuki, punching him full force in the stomach, which causes Mizuki to hold his stomach in pain, causing him to land on his back. But Mizuki is pretty weak, so Naruto backs up and does a lightning style as Mizuki tried to get up, and then did an electric bolt that shoots off from Naruto's palm to Mizuki. As Mizuki at this point was pretty much knocked out, and Iruka tries to sneak up behind Naruto while he was busy with Mizuki. And Naruto, actually not seeing this coming, had to activate his Sharingan for a split second, and no one saw except Sasuke. He at the very least thought he had saw, but Naruto perceived Iruka's movements and did a neck chop, knocking him out. So Naruto wins. He gets his headband, and they wait for their teams to be announced and to get their team leaders. So Naruto gets a team. I want to put him on team. Alright, so Naruto is on team 7 with, yeah, team 7 with Shikamaru and Hinata. Yeah. So if y'all want to ship, I mean, y'all can put that in the comments. I don't really plan on it for now though. So Naruto is in the classroom with his team, waiting for Kakashi to come. And as usual, he's really, really late. But while they were in class waiting, Naruto's sitting behind Shikamaru. And Sasuke asked Naruto, dang it, I keep on saying Sasuke. Shikamaru asked Naruto how to get so strong, as after over these few years, Naruto and Shikamaru had actually became pretty good friends. As Shikamaru was actually kind of questioning Naruto, very curious at his skill. As suddenly Kakashi appears out of nowhere and tells them to meet him on the roof. He says, alright, so introduce yourself, your likes, your dislikes, and dreams for the future. And Shikamaru goes first, saying, my name is Shikamaru Nara. My likes, clouds. My dislikes, troublesome women, and a lot of other things. My dreams for the future, to have a very average life and maybe become a cloud one day. That'd be cool. And that's about it. As Kakashi's alright, you're up next, Blondie. As Naruto introduces himself, saying, I'm Naruto Uzumaki. My likes are training and reading. My dislikes are people who are arrogant with their skill. And my dreams for the future. I don't think I'll mention that, as that's irrelevant. Yeah, and Hinata, I'm just gonna say, everything, so think of it like, to get her attention from the Hugh clan, I don't feel like doing hers. But Naruto goes home to train, but before he could leave, and everyone else leaves, Kakashi tells them that they have a test tomorrow. And Naruto was kind of surprised. As Naruto was getting ready to leave, suddenly Kakashi told Naruto to stay back, as he was pretty interested with Naruto's skill, and told him to meet him at training grounds. And as Naruto is jumping from roof to roof trying to get home, he actually ran into Sasuke, as Sasuke stopped him and asked him where he got the Sharingan from. As Sasuke didn't really get a chance to ask him since his team left earlier. And Naruto proceeds to say, this is probably the best way to get Sasuke off, so he'll stop bothering me, and to possibly get Sasuke to stop overrunning. So now, they go to the Uchiha compound, and Naruto shows Sasuke his eyes to be like, as he shows him the Sharingan. And Naruto activates his Sharingan, and actually caused Sasuke's Sharingan to also activate. It was like on instinct. kind of like this synced with each other. So this happens, and Naruto basically explained that Hitachi trained him for a while, and Naruto says Itachi isn't a bad guy, and he was just doing his job, and he probably did this because someone forced him to, as he was still trying to figure out who did this. As they were training for a little bit, Naruto had grown up a little more with Itachi, and it was more like a brother and brotherly type bond than a teacher and student. So Sasuke is just standing there, surprised. Sasuke doesn't know what to think at this point. Like a while ago, he wanted to kill his brother, and now he's hearing this. Just confuses him, and he asks Naruto for some time, just to think. And Naruto leaves, as Sasuke goes to his room. As Naruto, wondering if he told Sasuke too much, but brushes off, saying, he had it right. As sometime in the night, Sasuke knocks on Naruto's door, and he asks Naruto, can he train him, because he wants to get strong enough to bring Itachi back to the village. Naruto smiles and says, oh yeah, I can train you. Oh shoot, hold up, yeah, sorry. I don't know why this keeps on happening. Alright, that's better. That is better. As he asks Naruto if he can train him so he can bring back Itachi to the village. Naruto thinks about it for a second, while smiling, and says, yeah, sure. You know, it won't be that hard. So the next day comes around, and this is the bell test with Kakashi. Yeah, Kakashi explains the basics of the bell test, and that you need to get the best and only two people can pass. And the two people who get the bells from him basically graduate. I mean, not graduate, but whatchamacallit. And I decided it, after the whole Kakashi thing, I think I'm gonna switch teams. Because I'm gonna put Sasuke on Team 7. And, uh, and I'm not putting Trash Can on there. I'm good with that. I'm straight with that. As Kakashi explains, you guys are a three-man team. So, Naruto thinks there's more to this than he's telling us, but doesn't really say anything. So, the test begins, and all three of them disappear into the forest, making Kakashi a bit glad, thinking that this team actually has, a chance at beating this for once, because all the other teams he tried this with failed, because they did not know to use teamwork, as they could not figure it out. So, as Kakashi, should I leave it off here? Uh, let me think. You know what? I'm just continue. As Naruto meets up with Shikamaru and Hinata, as he says, we need to devise a plan. As Naruto says, Shikamaru, you have shadow possession jutsu, correct? I'll try to fight off Kakashi for a little bit, and then when you get the chance, manage to catch him off guard. I want you to use your shadow possession jutsu. And Hinata, I want you to go shut off Kakashi's chakra points. As Shikamaru release it before it can affect him as well. Got it? Got it, they all say. As Naruto goes forward to Kakashi, trying to punch him in the face, while trying to steal the bells as well, as he made 3 shadow clones. Each shadow clone swiftly tried to go in with the punch to hit Kakashi. As he then senses Kakashi as he teleported behind him, suddenly Naruto did a backflip while throwing 7 kunai at Kakashi, just to throw him off, as Naruto says, Shikamaru, your go. As suddenly out of nowhere, Shikamaru appears doing the shadow possession jutsu, while holding Kakashi down for a few seconds, as Shikamaru realizes he's starting to lose grip of it, and says, Hinata, you're on. As Shikamaru releases, letting go, as suddenly Hinata comes out of nowhere saying, 8 trigrams, 64 palms. She managed to shut down two of Kakashi's chakra networks. As Kakashi says, you've passed. Congratulations. As he says, here's a little word of advice. Those who abandon their comrades are scum, but those who abandon their friends, they're worse than scum. As Kakashi actually was surprised that Team 7 was able to do this. Honestly, and didn't expect them to be able to do this, as he says. Alright then, team, we start missions tomorrow, so get ready. As Shikamaru realizes this is going to be a drag, as he goes home to get in some sleep. While Hinata goes back to the Yuka clan compound, saying goodbye to Shikamaru and Naruto. As Naruto decides, well, I got nothing better to do. So, yeah, as they start off missions, they proceed to do their D-rank missions for about a month, while getting tired of them, until finally they requested a C-rank mission from the Hokage. As that's where I'm going to be leaving it off here. They're still going to get the same mission as canon, but yeah, that's where I'm going to be leaving it off. I hope you guys enjoyed. Anime Sensei out.